Welcome in, art buddies. Today I want to just take a few minutes to talk about my newly acquired distress watercolor pencils put out by Ranger, and they're a Tim Holtz product. So my last live, I was showing these off. My daughter and her family gifted these to me for my birthday, and one of the gals in chat, we'll give a shout out to Peggy Fitzmaurice, said, "Don't throw away your shavings." See, I wanted my points, my tips to be a little more sharp than they come in the package. Tim likes them a little dull, and you can look up his video where he goes through and he's introducing these in different ways how to use them. But his, when you get them, you can see they're not real sharp, and he likes them that way. But for someone like me who's going to use them in a variety of ways and probably in a coloring book, I'm opting to sharpen mine. Can you see how the difference? Let's see the difference here. So as I was sharpening one of these on my live, Peggy Fitzmaurice said, "Don't throw those crumbles away because it's watercolor. These are highly pigmented and they're solid watercolor, right?" So I was thinking about putting my little shavings in a little container like this, but I thought that might be cumbersome. You know, how to store them, how to keep them. And then I remembered I had this palette. Now, this is also a Ranger product, and I think they call it an ink well palette, but you can use it for a variety of things. So what I did was put my shavings in each little well and just added water. So these are starting to dry up. This one's quite dry. These are still kind of gooey. I think you want to make sure that they're really dry and hard before you would close your lid if you're using something like this. But you could do, whatever you have available. This just, I think, is going to work for me. So I've done them all. I've got all three sets, thanks to my daughter and her family. So there's 36 colors. So I left the last four here to show you what I've done. Now, I could have laid these out probably a little better, but I wasn't thinking initially when I first started to do this. So the order of mine make no rhyme or reason, but you can figure that out on your own if you decide to do this. I've got a large pipette here just because my water is in this little jug and I want to dip down in there, get some clean water. And I just took little sheets of paper. I've got a regular old-timey pencil sharpener. So this one is called Cracked Pistachio, and all I'm doing is just grinding this 6 or 7 times. It'll depend on your sharpener and how sharp you want your pencils. So that's good enough, right? So I'm going to pop that back in there. Now this is where it gets fiddly. I would recommend starting at the top and then coming down so you don't drip any of these shavings into your other little wells. I'm just going to take this and tap them in very gently. Now my sharpener makes pretty good size crumbles. Oh, I lost one. So I'm going to take a pair of tweezers, pick that little guy up, and then all I did was just take some clean water. I used an eyedropper, but today I'm going to show you with this pipette. Now, if you re-squeeze the eyedropper or the pipette before you come away from that color, I was picking up some of those little shavings. So you want to be careful of that too. Now I'm just going to let that sit while I do my other colors. And because I don't want to cross-contaminate, I would get another clean sheet of paper or just flip this over and use the back side. This one is Twisted Citron, and I'm going to just shake out everything that I have in my sharpener. Oh, this one's really a cool color. And now I'm thinking once I go ahead and use my pencils to color with and they start to become dull again, I'll do the same thing and just keep adding to the well. But look at these colors. They are so fabulous. And of course, if you like Tim Holtz products and you work with a lot of his inks and oxides, all these colors work together. And, you know, your glazes, your embossing glazes, they all match. See, now I've used both sides of that paper. I'm going to toss that. As mixed color artists and artisans, we always have plenty of paper sitting around, right? So that's not a hardship. So you could crease this a little bit, I guess, to make it easier. The next one I'm going to do is spiced mandarin. Aren't you glad I didn't decide to do all 36 colors on a video? So I want to tap that really well, get all that cleaned out. Now, if you're concerned about cross-contamination, now this one looks like it's got a little bit stuck inside the sharpener. I'll just take a little cotton swab there, clean that out. And you just want to be very gentle. Now, you may come up with a better idea on how to do this, but this has worked really well for me. And so I've let this sit out on my kitchen counter because I want these to dry just like you would a watercolor that you might use in a palette. And they can be reactivated when you add water. And these are very highly pigmented. Like I tried one of these earlier today, and this one's still a little wet and goopy. But this one I did first. That guy's kind of dry. And as it dries and the water starts to evaporate a little bit, it becomes like a watercolor in one of your, pans. So it goes down and I've got more room in there. So as I use my colors, now I didn't worry about naming them or putting names on them. After you work with a product for a while, you kind of get to know. And there might be a few I'd have a question about, but you've got the pencil. So you could really kind of, so that doesn't really bother me. I did think about it. And if I really wanted to, I could put stickers on the outside of my plastic container, my little palette here, and put the names of the colors. But I think most times, for most of us, we use our products maybe by eye, seeing what color we want to use, not so much by the name. So if it's an issue for you, then you just would have to put a little sticker. You know, they have those little dot stickers that you can, like pricing stickers, that when you close your lid, you could put them on top. So then I just took a skewer, my dirty beat up old skewer. Where'd I put that? And after I let those sit a little bit, I just mixed them in to try to incorporate all those little shreds. And then I just want to clean off the tip of my skewer. Mix up the twisted citron, I think this one was. Now, I don't know if you can tell from this distance, and it might be hard for me to pick up because I really loaded these up with water. Some of the little shreds say like on, well, this one you can kind of see, or here you see some darker pigment. I'm not going to worry about that because when I go to use it in a project, I'm going to wet my brush, probably add some water out on my work surface, depending on how intense I might want the color. But see, when I first started to grind up my pencils and sharpen them, I just I think I might have even said on the live, "Oh, I hate to throw that away. I hate to waste it." And that's when Peggy said, "Put them in a container and save them." And I wanna be able to open this up, use the colors, and not have to add water, like, I could have stored the loose crumbles in that container I showed you, something like that with a twisted top, but I decided to do it this way. I think for me, this is gonna be fabulous. So that's it. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you've got any other ideas you want to share them, be happy to hear. Let me just hold this up a little bit for you to see. Those colors really are quite yummy. So that's it for today. I'll look forward to seeing you on the next Let's Talk. Don't forget, take time to be creative and enjoy the journey. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.